Dr. David Lee. I'm a board certified dermatologist, and today I'm here to tell you about 5 things that you can do to give yourself radiant and glowing skin. Starting with number 1, I think it's important to actually have a very minimalist routine consisting of very few but necessary ingredients. Personally, I'm a big fan of the Pareto principle, which essentially states that a minority of efforts lead to the majority of results. So by the same token, I think in skincare, if you're using 10 different products, it's most likely that 2 or 3 of these are contributing 80 to 90% of the benefit that you're seeing on your skin. So it's really important to simply identify a few key necessary ingredients such as a moisturizer, cleanser, sunscreen, and possibly vitamin A cream at night. Number 2, I think it's extremely important to be consistent and to stay the course with whatever routine you decide to try. I think one of the biggest mistakes that people make is that they don't give their product enough time. So for instance, they may choose to use a product for a week and then they will switch to something else that's new. So ultimately, over the course of several months, they would have tried, 8 to 9 different products even. And how can you say what has worked and what has not worked? So this ties kind of into the minimalist routine, right? Find a few ingredients, a few products that you really enjoy and give them a substantial time horizon in order to work on your skin. Number 3, I think in today's society, it's pretty much the norm for you to, turn on social media and you see a new influencer or someone who is essentially sponsoring a product recommending that you try this because this is the new thing that's going to solve all of your skincare problems. And this leads me to my recommendation, which is to not worry about what other people are doing or what is the newest trending item on social media. I think a lot of these things are distractions, and most of the products coming onto the market actually have no evidence behind them. A few companies that are currently on the market are really good about this, and they actually put their products through clinical testing in order to make certain types of claims around the benefits that a certain product may confer on the skin. However, this is not necessarily the norm, and I think most of the products coming out into the market don't actually have this degree of rigor or method or evidence. All that's to say, stick with what is evidence-based, stick with what is tried and true, and don't worry about what other people are doing. Number 4, I think it's extremely important to reduce, minimize, and also modify your relationship with stress. So every single week, I would encounter dozens of patients who are flaring in terms of their skin disease. And this can be anything from psoriasis, acne, atopic dermatitis, vitiligo, or alopecia. When you ask these patients, what has changed in your life? Are you building some kind of tolerance to the medications? Did you run out of your medications? Is there something external going on in your life? Many times, I think you will find that a recent stressor has occurred, something that has, essentially made the patient's life a bit more difficult. And oftentimes when we see that stress, which is associated with numerous health conditions and worsening of clinical outcomes for a number of diseases across the board, we know that stress is also not good for your skin. So it's really important to reduce your stress if possible, or to, increase your resilience. Doing things like exercising, yoga, meditation, these can be extremely helpful. And when you lead a life that has a healthier relationship with stress, I think you will see the results on your skin as well. So number 5, I think it's extremely important to lead a lifestyle that's characterized by balance and moderation. So that can apply to a whole number of things, but let's talk about one thing in particular. Let's start with diet, right? So for your diet, you want to have a good amount of nutrients, healthy proteins, lean proteins, omega-3 fatty acids, and also a ton of vitamins that are, that can be found in fruits and green leafy vegetables. These are all things that will be good for your skin. On the other hand, foods that are high on the glycemic index, such as a lot of sugars or processed, ingredients, these may cause signs of premature skin aging. Additionally, I always counsel my patients, to quit smoking if they do smoke, do not vape, because vaping oftentimes does contain nicotine as well, which can cause vasoconstriction of the blood vessels that lead to the skin, and this can deprive the skin and your collagen of the necessary nutrients and also oxygen. So over time, this also leads to premature signs of wrinkling and aging as well. And also along the lines of moderation, right? So I think it's important to actually also extend that to your expectations about how your skin will look. I think the if the expectation is that you want to have absolutely perfect, completely flawless skin every day of the year, you're going to be disappointed. All that's to say, I think it's extremely important to extend over the moderation and balance towards your expectations about how your skin may look. So, in conclusion, some of the things that we discussed today might not necessarily be news to you, and they are certainly not in relation to any types of new or cutting edge skincare development. And I think the reason for that is because a lot of the new things coming to the market need to be tested over time in order for us to better understand and better characterize the evidence and risk profile for these different ingredients. A lot of these things take time, and it's impossible to comment on what is the next fad or what is the next trending ingredient that will take social media by storm next month. You want to come up with a plan, one that is fundamental, one that is simple and yet effective. And you want to basically play the long game. That is how you achieve glowing and radiant skin.